Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Maria Davidson. I am a course advisor with the Engineering Institute of Technology. My location is Raleigh, North Carolina. I am in um, United States, for those who don't know. This webinar is taking place on Eastern Standard Time to help accommodate some of our North and South American friends. So I noted some of you are from South Africa and Nigeria. I know it's late for you, so welcome and thank you for joining us today. The first thing I want to go over real quick is if you're annoyed by notifications and sounds from the chat box, you can control the settings there. Just go to the cog on the bottom right of your screen, click on that, click notification settings, and then click the check boxes for whatever it is you're not wanting to hear. Or if you want to hear it all, then make sure that you can hear them all. Whatever works for you. Caroline, if you want to adjust that too, if you're not on a headset, now's the perfect time. And I'll give you 30 more seconds and then I'll move to the next slide. Okay. So we're today going with Mastering Construction Engineering. This is going to be presented by Dr. Caroline Figueroa. She is a civil engineer with a specialty in um, conservation, basically. She wants to save the planet, and we all want to support her. So welcome, Caroline. Um, and welcome everybody. We do have a couple of things to go over before she introduces herself. The copy of slides and video recording will be sent to everyone who signed up for this course. So whether they've attended or not, they will receive this video recording and slides. However, the certificate of attendance is only available to those who attend this live event, and it will be provided to you to sign up for the certificate at the end of the webinar. So I will be, sorry, can't speak. I will be providing you with a QR code and a link, and you'll fill out the short form letting them know that you finished and that you would like to get your certificate. Please be aware that this is a manual process. So our team has to manually enter your names onto the certificates and send them out. We do ask that you wait 4 business days before requesting your certificate. So if you don't get it after 4 days, hop onto live chat, send an email, or give us a call and ask for that certificate. But just be sure to fill out this form right after the webinar today. This link does expire. It's a 12-hour link. After that, it will not be an active link anymore. Okay? All right. Next, let's talk a little bit about EIT. We are a accredited college in Australia, and we employ engineering specialists. So our lecturers, our instructors, they are required, we require them to have a background in the field that they're teaching. We deliver all kinds of programs from professional certificates, which are for professional development, all the way through to a Doctor of Engineering. They are all industry oriented, which means you're not going to come in and find a class on medicine or a class on something else. We are focused on engineering and engineering support related fields. As I mentioned, we are fully accredited. We are accredited by the Australian government. We also have many of our programs through the Accords, which are also recognized in many other countries through very specialized bodies. Um, our delivery is online, which is we do have on-campus courses, but our our really life-changing stuff is for those who can't go to Australia to go to school. You can go online. Our labs are remote and virtual. They allow you to attend from the comfort of your home without having to travel anywhere to do a lab. Even your testing, everything can be done from the comfort of your home. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Caroline. Please note if you have any questions, please put them in the chat bar. We will do a Q&A at the very end, so any major questions, hold them till the end. We can answer some short questions or quick questions during, but Caroline is always quite packed full of great information, so allow her to present, and then we will spend some time with you at the end answering your questions. We're not hearing you yet.
And now, is it okay?
There. Yes, thank you.
Yes? Oh, perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Maria. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm very excited to be here again to discuss an interesting topic for all professionals associated with the construction industry. But before we officially start this presentation, please allow me to briefly introduce myself. My name is Dr. Caroline Figueiredo. I'm Brazilian, and my background is in civil and environmental engineering. I'm a civil engineer with a master's and a PhD in environmental engineering, and I've spent several years researching and teaching in the areas of sustainable construction and project management focused on construction projects using different techniques, different methodologies. So I'm specialized in the BIM methodology, life cycle assessment, and so on. Okay, and nowadays I work as a lecturer at EIT, and I conduct lectures and tutorials for higher education and also VET programs, the vocational education and training programs at EIT. Okay. Well, as you can see here, we have an interesting agenda for today. We will start by talking about the whole concept of project management. And today, since we only have 1 hour, we will focus on one specific industry, which is the construction industry. Okay. And then, after understanding the whole concept of project management, we will delve into some areas of knowledge within project management. Okay, so I chose some important areas of knowledge regarding project management for us to deeply discuss. So first of all, we will talk about project planning and scheduling. Then we will discuss cost estimation and budgeting. Then we will talk about risk management. And finally, we will talk about sustainable construction projects. And as Maria already told you guys, at the end of this presentation, we will have a Q&A session. Okay, so throughout the presentation, please feel free to write down using the chat box your questions, your doubts. If you have comments, adding more discussion on these topics, okay? Feel free to use the chat box to participate. And at the end of this session, I will try to answer most questions for us to discuss these topics, okay? So let's officially start the presentation. And let's begin with an introduction to project management. So what is project management? Project management is the disciplined application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. So every time I talk about project management, I like to highlight these 4 things, okay? Because these are very important to achieve effective project management in our projects. So first of all, regarding knowledge, when we talk about applying knowledge in our projects, this includes understanding the principles of construction management, for example, engineering standards, okay, because we are talking about construction projects, so we should consider engineering standards. Also, safety regulations, okay, it's very important to consider this. And also sustainable practices, because nowadays we will talk about that today, about sustainable projects. Nowadays, it's imperative to consider sustainability in our projects. okay? Not only in construction projects, but in all industries. Sustainability is very important for every industry, but the construction industry is responsible for a huge amount of environmental impacts. So it's our responsibility as professionals associated with the construction industry, civil engineering, architecture, etc., to consider the knowledge related to sustainable practice. Okay, so when we talk about knowledge, we can talk, for example, about knowledge of the latest construction materials, the latest construction techniques. And this knowledge can significantly impact project efficiency and sustainability. Okay, but another important thing to discuss and to develop is the skills. And in our courses at EIT, in different courses, we discuss project management, okay? Because it's very important for us to know how to design projects, but also how to manage the projects and all the resources, okay? And in our courses, I always discuss this with the students because our idea at EIT is to help the students to develop different skills to increase the potential of their projects. Okay, so effective project management requires a variety of skills. So we normally talk about leadership, communication, negotiation, problem solving. Okay, because in construction, these skills are crucial for coordinating with diverse teams. So imagine you are working in a construction project. You will have to deal with architects, engineers, contractors, workers, different internal and external stakeholders, okay? And you should ensure that everyone is aligned and working towards the same goals in your project. So it's very important for us to develop different kinds of skills. Okay, so our courses is not only focused on teaching you how to develop projects, but also how to develop skills, professional skills, for you to deal with all of these situations in a better way. Okay, and of course, we should talk about different tools and techniques. And today, throughout this presentation, I will give you some hints, some examples, okay, of tools and techniques that we can use to achieve an effective project management, okay? So, for example, if we use BIM, today I will give you some examples on how to use the building information modeling methodology. Or another modern tool, for example, we can use project management software or mobile technology, okay? So we will try to use all the modern tools and techniques to assist us to streamline processes, to enhance collaboration, to improve accuracy in planning and execution throughout the whole project. Okay, so the idea is to improve the project in different ways using knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. So project management plays a crucial role in ensuring that projects are completed efficiently and effectively. This is our main goal in any project, okay? And in essence, project management is the art and science of turning concepts into reality. It's very good to think about project management like that, because by applying project management principles, we can systematically transform abstract concepts into tangible and successful projects. Okay, because at the beginning of the project, everything will be only an idea, an abstract concept. Okay, but by applying these principles, we can achieve a successful project and successful outcomes at the end. Okay, so that's the idea of project management, to improve project outcomes, to ensure timely delivery, to stay within budget. Okay, so we should consider the schedule, the budget, the quality of our product or service. Okay, so that's the idea. And we should continue to study project management because we are dealing with an evolving industry. Okay, so we should consider the industry trends, and also try to integrate innovative solutions. And that's the idea of our courses, okay? We are always trying to show you innovative solutions, innovative techniques for you to be up to date with what the industry is presenting, okay? Well, when we explore the world of project management, it's essential to understand the frameworks that guide our practice and ensure consistency and success across various projects. And one of the most widely recognized and utilized frameworks is the PMBOK. I don't know if you have already heard about this acronym, but PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. Okay. So the PMBOK, or Project Management Body of Knowledge, is the foundational framework for global effective project management practices. And this is used worldwide. Okay. So if you intend to work as a project manager, it's a good idea to start studying the PMBOK guide. Okay. So this guide was developed by the Project Management Institute. This is an international institute, well known worldwide, the PMI. Okay. And PMBOK is the comprehensive guide outlining the fundamental processes, tools, and techniques essential for successful project delivery. And what is the idea of this guide, of this book? It meticulously organizes project management into different knowledge areas. Okay. As I said before, when I was presenting the agenda for today, I chose some knowledge areas for us to discuss, okay? But of course, in 1 hour, it would be impossible to discuss all the topics regarding project management, okay? As I said before, this is an art and a science. There are many techniques and many concepts associated with project management. But when we choose a specific guideline, for example, the PMBOK, you will see that there are different knowledge areas and different approaches to manage our projects. Okay, so this guide specifically will provide a structured approach to navigating the complexities of project initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and closure. Okay, so all the phases of the project life cycle. And this image is very interesting because I don't know if some of you guys already heard about and read the PMBOK, but there were some updates in the PMBOK 7th edition, okay? And these updates are very interesting because they reflect the evolving nature of project management, okay? So the idea of PMBOK from 2021 was to incorporate more flexible, outcome-focused, and stakeholder-inclusive approaches. Okay, so the idea is that we are always trying to guarantee that the framework remains relevant and practical in today's dynamic project environments. Okay, so let's see the differences between PMBOK 6th edition and the most recent one, the PMBOK 7th edition. Okay, so first of all, regarding the focus of the framework. PMBOK 6th edition was primarily focused on processes, okay? Detailing specific steps and actions required to manage the project. But now the 7th edition shifts the focus to value-based delivery, emphasizing the outcomes and benefits that projects deliver to stakeholders, okay? The second difference between the 6th and the 7th edition, and this one I will deeply discuss in the following slides, the difference is between 10 knowledge areas versus the 8 performance domains, okay? So the sixth edition was organized into 10 knowledge areas. So for example, we had scope, time, cost, quality, risk management. Okay. So we basically divide the project management concept into different knowledge areas. Okay. But now in the seventh edition, PMBOK introduces 8 performance domains, which provides a more holistic view of project management. Okay, so now we will focus on performance aspects. Okay, for example, stakeholders, the whole team, the delivery. Okay, and also we changed the emphasis. Okay, first of all, the emphasis was on phases of project management, and now the emphasis is on project delivery principles. Okay, so now there is a greater emphasis on project delivery principles, offering a set of guidelines that can be applied across various project methodologies, because that's the idea. Here, as you can see, the sixth edition follows traditional methodology of project management. And now, in the seventh edition, we introduced various project management approaches. Okay. So we talk about agile, lean, hybrid methodologies, okay? Because actually the modern projects reflect diverse natures, okay? So that's the idea of PMBOK, to stay up to date and to consider all the possibilities in modern projects, okay? And finally, the PMBOK sixth edition was well understood by project managers, but now it can be understood by anyone directly involved with project. Okay. So here we have this image representing all the PMBOK knowledge areas presented in the sixth edition of PMBOK. Okay, so we have scope management, schedule management, procurement management, stakeholder management, risk management, communications management, resource management, quality management, cost management, and integration management. And of course, it would be impossible for us to deeply discuss each one of the knowledge areas here, but I would like to highlight that each area here will present different possibilities, different techniques, different tools, okay, digital tools that we can use to assist us in the management of all these areas. So, for example, in our course, in our unit focused on construction project management, we discuss each one of these knowledge areas, showing the students how to use different digital tools, okay, to assist us in achieving better outcomes for our project, considering the scope, considering the schedule, the stakeholder management, and so on. Okay. And as Maria already said, at EIT, we have the remote lab. So we normally use different software applications, and the students will have access to these software applications remotely, okay? And you can practice, you can create your case studies, you can study in practice, okay? Creating the projects and developing more professional skills. Here we have the 8 project performance domains. So from the 7th edition of PMBOK, we started to talk about the 8 project performance domains. So we have stakeholders, planning, uncertainty, team, measurement, project work, development approach and life cycle, and delivery. Again, each project performance domains will present different possibilities, okay? And we can use different tools and technologies to assist us in improve each performance domains in our construction projects, okay? And it's important to highlight that PMBOK is not focused exclusively on construction projects. Okay, actually, PMBOK is a general guideline that we can use in different industries. Okay, that's why they decided to update some discussions in this guideline to be more realistic to different kinds of projects. Okay, so the idea is not to forget about everything we were discussing until the sixth edition. We will continue to talk about the different knowledge areas. We will continue to use different techniques, okay? But the focus is that now we will have more tools and more knowledge to understand different kinds of projects and to understand that each project is unique. Even though sometimes we will develop similar projects, for example, I can work exclusively with residential projects. Okay. So I will create similar projects sometimes. But even though it can be done like that, each project is unique. Okay. So we need to analyze each project as a unique thing, considering all the aspects, all the constraints, all the possible risks associated with this project. Okay. Today, we will briefly talk about risk management too. And every time I discuss this knowledge area with students, I started the lecture by highlighting that risks are not necessarily only negative ones. We can have positive and negative risks in our project. The idea is that we will consider all possible uncertainties in our projects. Okay, we will predict everything. We will try to predict everything to maximize the potential of positive risks and to minimize the potential of negative risks to occur throughout the project. Okay. So let's talk about the importance and relevance of PMBOK in construction engineering specifically, because as I said before, PMBOK can be used in different industries, okay? But first of all, regarding standardization and best practice, PMBOK provides a standardized set of guidelines and best practices that ensure consistency in project management across the construction industry. It helps in establishing a common language and framework for project management, facilitating better communication and understanding among project stakeholders. Okay? Regarding comprehensive coverage, the PMBOK framework covers all aspects of project management, from initiation to closing, encompassing various knowledge areas and performance domains, as we just saw. Okay? And this comprehensive approach ensures that all critical elements of project management are addressed, leading to more efficient and successful project delivery. Regarding improved project outcomes, by following PMBOK guidelines, construction projects can achieve higher success rates with better control over scope, time, cost, quality, and risks. Okay, that's the whole idea of considering an effective project management. And it promotes thorough planning, execution, and monitoring, which are essential for delivering projects on time and within budget. Okay. Another important point to be highlighted here is regarding professional development, because PMBOK is recognized globally, and adherence to its standards can enhance the professional development of project managers. So, for example, certifications like PMP, the project management professional, based on PMBOK, are highly valued in the construction industry, demonstrating a commitment to excellence and continuous improvement. Okay. So I don't know if you have heard about that, but PMI is the institute that wrote the PMBOK, but there are different certifications, different guidelines provided by PMI. You can check the website if you want. Okay. And it's a good idea as a civil engineer, an architect, a construction project manager to consider this kind of certification, okay? Because it will guarantee that you understand the whole concept of project management, you know how to deal with different situations, and it's highly valued in the construction industry to have a certification like PMP, okay? Now, regarding the integration with modern technologies, nowadays it's imperative for us to consider integration, okay? Because the things are evolving so fast, you know that. We have artificial intelligence now, we have many technologies appearing in the market, okay? So it's very important for us when we start to study any kind of methodology to understand if it's possible to integrate the concept with modern technologies, okay? And PMBOK is flexible. So this is a good idea to think about PMBOK nowadays because of course this is a traditional guideline, okay? It has been used for several years now, but this is very flexible, and this guideline can be integrated with modern project management tools and software, okay? So for example, we can consider the use of PMBOK at the same time of considering the use of BIM in our project, okay? So BIM, for those who um, don't know yet, BIM is an acronym that stands for Building Information Modeling. And we discussed this methodology a lot in our courses because this is the present and the future of the construction industry. Okay. And we can also integrate PMBOK with project management information systems. And this integration enhances data management, collaboration, and real-time tracking of project progress. Okay? And we can also talk about agile and lean methodologies because the latest edition of PMBOK acknowledges and incorporates principles from agile and lean methodologies, making it adaptable to various project environments. And this adaptability allows for iterative and incremental delivery, which is particularly useful in dynamic and complex construction projects. Finally, regarding the global relevance, okay, PMBOK's guidelines are applicable globally, making it a valuable resource for managing international construction projects. And its relevance across different regions and cultures ensures that project managers can effectively lead diverse teams and navigate varying regulatory environments. Okay? So by leveraging PMBOK, construction engineering professionals can enhance their project management capabilities, stay abreast of industry developments, and deliver projects that meet modern standards and modern and expectations of the project. Okay? So after talking about the whole concept of project management, as I said before, we will choose some knowledge areas to be discussed here and some phases of the project life cycle to be discussed. Okay, so let's start by talking about project planning and scheduling. So, what is project planning? Project planning in construction engineering involves defining project goals, determining required resources, and creating a roadmap for successful completion. And basically, it encompasses several key activities. So, first of all, we will talk about identifying project scope. Okay, so we should clearly define what the project will deliver and the boundaries of the project, okay, to understand the project scope. Another important activity here is the resource allocation. Okay, so we will determine the necessary resources, including personnel, equipment, and construction materials. Okay, then we can talk about activity scheduling. So, planning out the sequence of activities, their durations, their dependencies, okay? And finally, the milestone setting. So basically, this is related to establishing key points or events that mark significant progress, okay? So the idea is that effective project planning ensures that all aspects of the project are coordinated and resources are allocated efficiently. Okay. So by laying out a detailed plan, we can better manage time, cost, risks. Okay. And ultimately, we will achieve a more successful project outcome. So when we talk about project planning, we can think about the basically three primary objectives. First of all, defining project scope. Okay, so when we talk about defining project scope, we can consider some aspects here. First of all, the scope statement. We should clearly outline the project deliverables and the project boundaries. Okay, also, we should develop the work breakdown structure. This acronym is very common, is very utilized in this world of project management. Okay, so WBS stands for work breakdown structure, and the whole idea is to decompose the project scope into manageable sections. Okay, so in this image here, we have a simple example of a WBS. So the project is regarding the construction of a house, okay? So what can we do? In this example, we split the whole project into three categories: internal, foundation, external. Actually, this is only a part of the whole work breakdown structure, okay? But in the internal group, we will have electrical, plumbing, and so on. And in each part, in each group, we will have different tasks, different activities to be accomplished, okay? So here, rough in electrical, install the terminal, HVAC equipment, etc. Okay? So the idea is to decompose the whole project scope into smaller and manageable sections. Okay. And finally, regarding requirements documentation, we should list all project requirements and specifications to guarantee that since the beginning, we are planning the whole project and communicating to all the stakeholders all the project requirements and specifications to guarantee the success of the project and the end of this life cycle. Okay. The second possible objective that we can talk about here is to setting goals for our project, okay? And actually, there would be different techniques, multiple techniques that I could present to you here. But since we have a limited time today, I chose some techniques to present to you, okay, regarding this part of setting goals. Okay. So first of all, let's understand this idea of SMART criteria. Basically, when we determine the goals for our project, we can use this technique, this acronym SMART, to guarantee that all the goals of our project will be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So if you look at the first letter of each word, you will see that we have S, M, A, R, and T. So the word is SMART, the acronym is SMART. Okay. So why is it interesting to think about this technique of SMART criteria? Because by using the SMART criteria, we ensure that our project goals are well defined and actionable. Okay. So let's imagine we can use these actually in our personal life. So, for example, if I tell you guys, oh, my goal, my life goal is to be rich. Okay, this is a possible goal, but this is not smart considering this technique because this is not so specific. Okay, I didn't outline exactly what needs to be accomplished. I created a general goal for me. So it will be more difficult for me to guarantee that I will achieve this goal. Okay. So goals should be clear and specific. So the first letter S for specific. Okay. So we should outline exactly what needs to be accomplished in our project, in our construction project, in a personal project, etc. These should be measurable. So letter M, okay? So goals should be measurable so you can track progress and determine when the goal has been achieved. If you say, oh, I want to be rich, it will be impossible to determine when you achieved this goal, okay? You should guarantee that the goal is measurable. Also achievable because goals must be realistic, okay, considering the available resources, the project constraints, etc. It should be relevant, okay, aligning with broader project objectives and stakeholder needs, and it should be time bound. So goals should have a defined timeline or a deadline to create a sense of urgency and to prioritize tasks too. Okay, so this technique is very interesting. We can also use the definition of milestones, so key points or events marking significant progress. And we can also use KPIs. So KPI is an acronym that stands for Key Performance Indicators. Okay. So here we have some examples of why we need KPIs in our projects. Okay. So the idea is to measure the project success and the project performance. Okay. So we can use different KPIs in our project. And there are some common KPIs in project management. So, for example, we can use schedule variance. So, what is the idea? We will measure the difference between the planned progress and the actual progress of the project. Okay. And the idea of this schedule variance is to help us to determine if the project is ahead or behind schedule. Okay. And we can use cost variance and other KPIs. Okay, other key performance indicators in our project to solve problems, to tackle opportunities, etc. And finally, the third objective would be establishing timelines, okay? So, regarding the project schedule, we should have a detailed plan with start and end dates for each task, okay? We can use Gantt charts, and in our courses, as I said before, we use different software applications, and nowadays it's very simple to create our schedules in a visual way to assist us in controlling the whole project. Okay, so basically the Gantt chart is this, a visual timeline representing the tasks, the durations, and the dependencies. So as you can see here, I can only start this activity here when I finalize the previous ones, okay, considering the dependencies created in my Gantt chart, okay? And the critical path method is an interesting and traditional method to identify the longest sequence of tasks that determines project duration. So we will consider the critical path, the critical activities of our project that we should bear in mind that if those tasks are delayed, we will delay the whole project. Okay, so this is the critical path. So regarding WBS work, as we saw before, to divide, to split the whole project into smaller and manageable tasks. Okay, a WBS, or a work breakdown structure, visually organizes project deliverables into different levels based on dependencies. And it is essentially your project plan in a visual form, with your project objective at the top and then dependencies and sub-dependencies below. And since a WBS is displayed visually, it can be created using a combination of workflow management software and project management frameworks. Okay, so sometimes we will use timelines, Kanban boards, and calendars. Okay, and basically, every WBS is made up of a few parts. So we will have a project baseline, or the scope statement, the project stakeholders, an organized project schedule, and the project deliverables and supporting subtasks. So as I said before, we can use timelines, Kanban boards, calendars to assist us in creating the work breakdown structure. And there are basically two different types of WBS: a deliverable-based work breakdown structure and a phase-based work breakdown structure. Okay, so in the first type, this is a deliverable-oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work. So essentially, this basically means that you will look at the overarching project scope and break your work down into deliverables that support it. Okay. And this approach is best for shorter projects with a really clear outcome. For example, developing your annual revenue report. Okay. You will focus on the deliverable, the report at the end of this project. Okay. And then you will break your work down into deliverables that support this final deliverable. Okay. But we can also divide our work breakdown structure considering the project phases, okay? So these task groups are then completed in stages, and you will want to use a phase-based WBS for longer projects with less defined outcomes. For example, if you wanted to boost retention by 20% over the next 3 years. So we don't have exactly an outcome here as a service or product. Okay, we wanted to change the situation of our company. Okay, so in this case, it's better to divide the activities into different project phases. Okay, so we can use both approaches here depending on the type of the project. Well, and as I said before, the idea when using PMBOK or any other kind of guideline related to project management is to be able to integrate these guidelines into modern technologies and methodologies. Okay, so leveraging building information modeling, for example, and other modern technologies can significantly improve construction project planning and scheduling. So we already had some technical webinars related to CAD and BIM methodology. I don't know if you participated on the previous ones, the previous technical webinars. Okay, so basically, these methodologies are well known in the construction industry. And when we talk about CAD, CAD is an acronym that stands for Computer Aided Design. So what is the idea here? We have a software application to assist us in creating our technical drawing, our design, okay? But we will continue to do the same process as we did in the past when using paper and pencils to create our design, okay? So for example, if I wanted to represent a wall in my building in a two-dimensional view, I will create two parallel lines, okay? And these lines will represent the wall in 2D, in a 2D view, okay? But at the end of the day, if you are using the CAD methodology, we are talking about points, lines, figures representing the technical drawing, okay? On the other hand, when we talk about BIM or building information modeling, the idea is that we will create BIM or building information modeling. The idea is that we will create a 3D model. Okay, so we start from the 3D model. Okay, if we need to generate 2D views, for example, a floor plan, a section plan, that's okay. This will be generated automatically by the software. Okay, but at the beginning, we will focus on creating the 3D model of our facility, a building, the infrastructure, okay? And we will insert information. So the core point here is the information, the letter I in this acronym, okay? So information is the most important part of the BIM methodology, okay? We can insert any kind of data and information that we want in our 3D model. So that's why we can use this 3D model to assist us in improving different decisions throughout the whole project life cycle. And that's why I'm presenting to you this idea. You probably have heard about this acronym, this methodology, okay? So we can use BIM since the project planning and scheduling, but we can continue to use the same 3D model. You will continue to insert more data and more information throughout the whole building life cycle, and we will have a real prototype of our building, okay? With all the information centralized, and we will be able to simulate different scenarios to improve the decision-making process in different ways, okay? So BIM is a powerful tool that offers a digital representation of a facility's physical and functional characteristics. So basically, as I already said, we will have a 3D visualization of the project, okay? So it will assist us in identify potential issues early and improve design accuracy. We can also use this for clash detection, okay, to resolve clashes between different building systems, for example. We can use this for sequencing and simulation, okay, when we integrate 4D BIM. So we will insert time data into our 3D model, okay, enabling the simulation of construction sequences and better activity planning. And also data integration, because we will centralize project data, ensuring that all stakeholders have access to the most up-to-date information. So here we have an example of one of the software applications that we have available in our remote lab at EIT, and we can create the whole planning using this software called Navisworks. But there are many other examples, many other software applications that we discuss in our courses. Okay, but here, as you can see, we can generate a simulation integrating the 3D model with the schedule of the project. Okay, so we will analyze the project planning and scheduling using a 3D simulation. Besides BIM, we can also use mobile technology, cloud computing. So BIM is only one example, okay? Our presentation today is not only about BIM, but different techniques and methodologies that we can use together with PMBOK and other concepts related to project management to improve our construction projects. So professionals should embrace mobile and cloud-based solutions to enhance communication and data access in project management. So, for example, if we use cloud-based platforms like Procore, Buildertrend, Autodesk BIM 360, we can provide real-time updates and ensure all team members can access the latest information of our project. And also, we can guarantee on-site data entry. So it will enable field workers to input data directly from the site using mobile devices and reducing delays in information flow. We can also use drones and robotics. We discuss a lot this possibility in our courses because this is the present and the future of the construction industry. To incorporate drones and robotics into the construction projects to bring significant advantage for site monitoring and data collection, directly impacting project planning and scheduling. Okay, so in this way, we will achieve a data-driven planning, okay, because we will collect rich data, okay? We will guarantee a dynamic scheduling and also the resource optimization, since drones and robotics help in optimizing resource allocation by providing precise data on site conditions, progress, and equipment health. Moving on, after talking about project planning, let's talk about cost estimation and budgeting, because estimating construction costs is a highly detailed and intricate process that requires careful consideration of all the expenses related to a construction project. So it involves the expertise to forecast, calculate, and thoroughly analyze the financial necessities required to transform a construction concept into a finished structure. The construction cost estimates can be prepared either in a detailed manner, and in this case, we will consider each item of our project individually, but sometimes we only need to calculate approximately without going into much detail, okay? So based on this, there are mainly 8 cost estimates followed in construction. So of course, in our courses, we will understand how to use each one of the techniques here, okay? But only a brief overview here. We can use preliminary cost estimate, plinth area cost estimate. So in this case, we will consider the area of the building to multiply by the cost per area, per square meter, for example, to estimate the whole cost. We can also use the cube rate cost estimate if we will consider the height of the building, for example. And we can also use the approximate quantity method cost estimate, okay? But sometimes we will need a more detailed estimate for our construction project, okay? So in this case, we can have a detailed cost estimate calculating the cost of each material, each equipment, each component of the project. Sometimes we will have to revise this cost estimate, so it's another category that we can consider. We can also have a supplementary cost estimate, okay? So sometimes we will add some parts in our project, and you can consider the supplementary cost estimate. And we can consider the cost estimate focused on the maintenance and repair of the facility, okay? So we can calculate, for example, the annual repair cost estimate. And as I said before, we can use BIM throughout the whole project lifecycle. And I already told you that we can insert any kind of data and information within the 3D module, okay? So if you check, Maria already sent to you guys the link of the webinar on BIM methodology, okay? So in that presentation, we had more time to focus exclusively on BIM, but the whole idea here is that we can use this 3D model as a prototype of our building. So we will carry out different kinds of building analysis, building simulations to improve our decisions. In this case, with this focus on cost estimation, okay? So we can use, for example, Autodesk Revit which is an important and popular software application used worldwide to incorporate computable building information that allows a computer to comprehend a model as a building. So an example, I told you guys about the wall, okay? So if we are using the CAD methodology, the wall will be just two lines, okay? But in this case, using BIM, a wall knows its identity and how it relates to the rest of the structure. So this makes it possible to schedule or quantify the wall as a building assembly made of actual materials. Okay? So computable building information aids various building design and construction activities, such as structural analysis, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system, building energy analysis, and specification management. Okay? And of course, we can use artificial intelligence and machine learning to assist us in cost estimation and budgeting. Okay, so we can use this to analyze historical project data to identify cost patterns and trends. We can use machine learning algorithms to predict costs based on project parameters. And we can use artificial intelligence to assess potential risks and their financial impacts, creating more realistic and comprehensive budgets. Okay, so the idea of this discussion here is to show you guys that we can use all these modern technologies to assist our construction projects. Okay, moving on, we are almost at the end of this presentation. Now we will talk about risk management, okay? Which is another critical component of successful construction project management. So basically, when we talk about risk management, it involves the systematic identification, assessment, and mitigation of risks that could potentially impact the project's scope, schedule, budget, and quality, okay? And as you know, construction projects, by their very nature, are intricate and riddled with uncertainties, owing to their vast scale, the involvement of numerous stakeholders, and the dynamic nature of the construction environment. So traditional risk management methods, while still valuable, are increasingly being supplemented by innovative technologies that enhance the ability to manage risks more effectively and efficiently. Okay? So in recent years, technological advancements have revolutionized risk management in the construction industries. Nowadays, we are talking about the use of BIM, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things or IoT, the use of drones, robotic, augmented reality, virtual reality, also blockchain, and all of these technologies are transforming the risk management landscape. Okay? Because these technologies provide real-time data, predictive insights, enhanced visualization, and improved communication, which collectively contribute to more proactive and robust risk management strategies. Okay? So again, we can use the BIM methodology to assist us throughout the risk management process, okay? Because we will have a detailed and dynamic project model that help in proactive risk management. So we can use BIM to detect all the clashes and interferences of our project, okay? Also, for scenario planning, actually, in my career, I use BIM a lot with this focus of scenario planning. Okay, so I normally simulate various scenarios, various possibilities to analyze the impacts associated with each solution. Okay, and then I will choose the most suitable one for a specific project. Okay, and we can also use this as a risk visualization to visualize potential risks using the 3D digital model. Okay, we can use, for example, glasses to visualize the building, to show the client the building, for example. There are many possibilities, okay, and many techniques and tools available in the market. Okay, We can also use Internet of Things for real-time monitoring. Okay, so in this case, we will install different sensors and devices in our building to collect real-time data. Okay, and in this case, we can focus on environmental monitoring. Okay, to monitor environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity, dust levels, etc. We can, for example, track the equipment and worker, okay? Or we can use this as structural health monitoring, okay? So we will install these IoT sensors to monitor the stability of the structures, for example. Finally, we will talk about sustainable construction projects because I think sustainability is really important nowadays for us to discuss. Okay, I don't know if you uh, realize that, but the construction industry is responsible for a massive amount of environmental impacts. Okay, including significant contributions to resource depletion, waste generation, greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so for example, when we think about raw material construction, the construction industry consumes a vast amount of raw materials like timber, minerals, metals, fossil fuels. Okay, and this heavy consumption leads to the depletion of natural resources. Okay, and sometimes these resources are non-renewable. Okay, and also, construction processes often require large quantities of water, contributing to the depletion of freshwater resources, okay, and generate significant amounts of waste. So there are many problems associated with the construction industry, okay? So sustainability in construction is really essential for minimizing the environmental impact, reducing waste, and ensuring the efficient use of resources. So embracing innovative technologies can significantly enhance the sustainability of construction projects by promoting energy efficiency, reducing emissions, and encouraging the use of sustainable materials and practices. And various technologies can be utilized to achieve sustainability goals in construction projects. This leads to not only environmental benefits, but also economic and social advantage, contributing to the overall success and longevity of the project. So when we think about sustainability, we can continue to use BIM, okay? So we can perform, for example, energy simulations and analysis during the design phase to optimize the building's energy performance and reduce its carbon footprint. We can also use BIM to assist us in selecting sustainable materials. As I said before, we can use our 3D model to predict the risks, to calculate the impacts, and to compare different possible scenarios. Okay, so we can compare different lists of materials to choose the most suitable one for our project, and also to guarantee waste reduction. So what is the idea to implement and incorporate innovative technologies? We will assess sustainability goals. We will define clear sustainability goals and objectives for our projects. Then we should choose the technologies that best align with the sustainability goals and project needs, because there are many possibilities available in the market. Okay, we should ensure seamless integration of new technologies with existing systems to enhance efficiency and data flow. Then we should provide training to our team on how to use the new technologies effectively to promote sustainability. And finally, we should guarantee a continuous monitoring of the sustainability metrics and the impact of these technologies, making adjustments as needed to achieve the project's goals. So that's the idea of the presentation. When we think about all the techniques and methodologies that are available in the market nowadays, the whole idea is that We will build our building or the infrastructure first as a digital model, okay? And see if everything works or not, okay? So we will test different possibilities, different scenarios. We will analyze positive and negative risks, okay? To use our model and the guidelines, the techniques, the methodologies that we are considering to improve all the decisions throughout the whole project life cycle, since the design stage, passing through all the processes, all the phases until the demolition of the building, okay? So that's the idea, to use our computer as a tool, a valuable tool for us to be able to use different software applications, different tools to visualize our building previously before it will be really constructed in the construction site. Okay. And to finalize this presentation, I put this phrase here, this sentence here, because I would like to ask you guys to think about that. Projects we have completed demonstrate what we already know, okay? I really hope you have learned something throughout this technical webinar. And from now on, you can try to improve your decisions. You can try to improve your own projects based on this knowledge acquired here, and also the knowledge and skills that you will develop from now on a course at EIT or using any other tool that you decided to use. Okay, so future projects decide what we will learn. We should be able to continue study. Okay, I'm a civil engineer, but even though you can be a civil engineer, an architect, a project manager, or any other profession, okay, we should continue to study and to develop our skills because the world is evolving very fast. Okay, so that's our idea here, to present to you innovative possibilities, innovative methodologies, and to encourage you guys to continue to study and learn and develop new skills for your career in your profession. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this presentation, and thank you very much for your attention, guys. I really appreciated this.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Great as always. Um, just real quickly, this will be sent to everybody, and the links in here are clickable, but here are the upcoming courses that cover civil engineering and project management. Those are being offered by EIT for all upcoming events and webinars. That's here. This is basically the same place you guys signed up for this webinar. Again, all links will be clickable and sent to your emails. So here is the link and the QR code for the certificate of attendance. As mentioned before, these do expire, and you should use them, fill out the form quickly so that you can get your certificate and allow 4 business days for that to be sent. Caroline, do you have a few minutes for some questions?
Sure, of course.
So if anyone has any questions, now is the time to ask. Does anyone have anything they would like to ask about BIM or project management?
Thank you everyone for the messages. I really appreciate your feedback, guys.
Yes, that BIM webinar that I linked to is definitely worth a watch. It's very informative about BIM. Agafi says, how can professionals communicate the benefits of using new methods of construction to their employers?
Great question. This is not so straightforward. So this is really something related to changing our mindset. Unfortunately, the construction industry is so traditional sometimes We continue to use the same construction methods, the same construction materials over and over again, okay? Even though there are many other possibilities being started and discussed at the universities, in papers, etc. So it's really a change in our mindset as professionals, okay? And again, we should guarantee our skills of communicating effectively with our team, okay? To show them that sometimes we will waste some time at the beginning to learn a new method, to learn a new application, a new software. But at the end of the project, we will gain many benefits of using this. Okay, sometimes professionals continue to use, for example, CAD software because they are used to it and they think it's easier to continue to use the same application, the same technology. But if we invest, of course, sometimes it's not possible now, but if we organize our work, our team to invest time and money in new technologies, in training, education, we will see many benefits in the future. So I think it's a whole new mindset for the whole industry, actually, for all the professionals involved.
So Albert wanted to know if quantity surveyors are more pivotal in ensuring a project success than other professionals.
I don't think so. I think all professionals are key when we think about the project success. Of course, depending on the phase of the project life cycle, the focus will be on a specific team, a specific group of professionals, but all professionals in all phases are critical in some way. Okay, so it's really the idea here is really to think about the project as a huge accomplishment with different phases and really understanding this as a cycle. Okay, we should guarantee the success since the beginning. Okay, and at the end of the project we should consider the lessons learned to improve our future projects because everything is evolving very fast. So I think every professional is responsible in some ways to achieve the success of the project.
So, Jafat asked something I would like a little clarification too. How can you introduce innovative and new methods to your employer who lack financial support? And I want to know, do you mean the employer doesn't have the finances to do it, or they are not providing you with the finances to get it done? I'm not sure the clarity because if the employer doesn't have the financial support, I think it's difficult, pretty much impossible. But if you're saying they won't support you, making a business case is a big part of that process. He doesn't have the finances.
Yeah, it's tricky.
So Jackson says, in your experience, why do you think explains the trend of project delays that have remained almost constant during the past decades?
Yes, actually, we normally focus on historical data. This is a this is a real problem in construction projects because each project is unique. So we continue to plan, to schedule, to estimate our projects using historical data. And nowadays we have the possibility of collecting real-time data and adjust the um, the schedule and everything throughout the project in real time. But of course, it involves investment on technology, sensors, devices, applications. So it's not so easy, but we should consider, because actually I think it's very important for us to understand that project management is the responsibility of everyone. Okay, so if you are a civil engineer, an architect, you should understand about project management to guarantee that your information will be given to assist the planning of the whole project. Okay, sometimes the responsibility of planning the project is from one person, and there is no communication among the whole team. That's why we are talking about creating a 3D model with everything centralized. Okay, because we can understand if something's changing. We can talk with everyone in real time. We can avoid mistakes um, throughout the whole project because of miscommunication and things like that. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the
Prakash wants to know, how can we prioritize tasks during project management?
Yeah, there are different techniques that we can use for that. I mentioned the CPM, the critical path method. Okay, so in this case, we will analyze different aspects related to the availability of resources, the duration of each task, the dependencies of the activities in our schedule. But there are other techniques. This was only one example. Okay, so CPM and PERT are two different techniques that are more traditional. Okay, we continue to use these concepts in our projects nowadays, but we have more innovative methods to be used. We continue to focus on the same traditional idea, but now using more advanced technology to assist us in understanding all the resources available. So actually, when we think about project management, we should consider all those knowledge areas to guarantee that everything is balanced. I think that's the key point of project management. We should try to find a balancing approach where we can pay equal attention to all performance domains, to all knowledge areas that we discuss in PMBOK, for example. Okay, otherwise it will be impossible. We will consider the resources, but not the quality or the client's needs. Okay, so everything should be centralized for us to guarantee that we are considering all aspects simultaneously. Okay.
Joshua asks, of the 8 cost estimate types, which one would road, bridge, and drainage projects be used?
Okay, so in this case, you are talking about huge infrastructure projects. So we need a detailed cost estimate, okay? And it will be so detailed, and but at the end of the day, the technique will be very similar, okay? But we are normally talking about private public-private partnership or a government project. So there are many things involved in this case, and you should guarantee that all the procurement management, all the aspects of the project are very detailed. Okay, so for sure, we should use a detailed cost estimate.
Prakash wants to know, how do we define an ideal project?
That's a great question. So, an ideal project is a project that is well planned since the beginning, okay? And I would say a project that considers, when the professionals involved consider all the changes and risks since the beginning, because it's very common to see stakeholders dealing with risks and uncertainties when they appear. Okay, of course, sometimes it's impossible um, to predict all the risks involved in the project. Things will happen, but one of the areas of knowledge that is very important and that we discuss a lot in our courses is the change management. So we should have a plan on how to deal with changes, because changes will appear. Okay, so I would say that, of course, there is no right answer for your question, but a good project, in my opinion, is the one that is well planned since the beginning. And at the end of the project, you will achieve the verification of the project. So all the outcomes will be related to the planning process at the beginning, and also the validation of your client. So not only the verification of all the criteria, but also the validation, the satisfaction of your client. This is the main goal every time we start a new project.
Ishmael asked this question. Some people have answered it. Um, which project management scheduling software is more favorable internationally? That one's hard, but Caroline, do you have any that you prefer?
So in the construction industry, it's very common to see people using either Microsoft Project or Primavera. Okay, we discuss both possibilities in our courses, but actually there are plenty of examples. It will depend on the type of the project, the size of the project, and also the availability of resources of your company, your team. So there is no right or wrong answer in this case, but I really like MS Project. I think this is a good solution for us to deal with not only the schedule itself, but also the resource management, cost management. Okay, so I think it's a comprehensive solution.
So I'm going to say no more new questions. We'll wrap up what we've got left. Roderick says, can you say you have experience in project management when your work is a site engineer, which you only manage on site, or do you need to be trained before you can say you have project management experience?
I think depending on your reality, your daily routine in your project, okay? Because of course you can try to implement project management techniques and concepts in your on-site job. Um, but if you are just following the construction and working as a on-site engineer, for example, without deciding things related to the management of the project, I don't think so. So I think it will depend on the type of decisions that you normally make in your career, okay? But it's always possible to study more techniques and more concepts. There are plenty of examples and materials on the internet nowadays. And as I said before, all professionals are responsible and can interact and improve the management of the project. So, yeah.
Kafula says, he has an interesting question. What is the best way to make it known to your supervisor the better methods of project management without undermining their suggestions?
Yeah, great question. So, the better manage the better methods. Um, I would I would say try to focus on discussing and how can I say try to suggest training and webinars like this one. I think sometimes we are so used to do our job the same way we always did that we don't realize that there are many other possibilities nowadays, and the whole industry is evolving so fast. So I don't know. I think you will have to use your communication skills.
So, um, sorry, I scrolled down a little too far. Ogafu asks, I'm sorry, I'm saying your name so wrong. Um, for new professionals in the construction industry, between PMP certification or a master's in project management, what do you recommend? And I will interject that you have to have a certain amount of experience to get certification. You can't just go in and test. You do have to
Yes,
actually be a project management for a certain amount of time. The higher the certification, the longer you have to have experience. So like for the final one, PMI, it's like 8 years. So you just can't walk in and do it. Sorry, I know that
perfect.
was for
Yeah.
you, Caroline.
No, no, you said already. That's perfect. Yeah.
So while a master's degree is great, even after that, you still have to get work experience to really do anything in the field outside of entry level. And I always recommend a master's degree. I'm for EIT, but for project management to move up in the field, experience is the only way to do it. Um, so Brian says, do I still need to carry on with traditional project management tools like Primavera, P6, and MS Project, or revert to modern BIM? Hmm.
Um, this is a great question. I think it's important for us to clarify this. So BIM is a comprehensive methodology and we can use for different purposes. As I said before throughout this presentation, we can use this with the focus on sustainability or cost estimate, uh, project planning, etc. But BIM is not a tool, it's not a software application. Okay, this is a methodology. So there are plenty of software applications available in the market based on BIM, but sometimes we know how to use a specific software. For example, Revit. I use Revit a lot, and I already saw many professionals working with Revit and saying that they apply BIM on their projects. But when you see the outcomes of the project, the way the project was conceived, you realize that they didn't use BIM. They were using a specific software application that is easier to create the design and to create the visualization, etc. But they didn't implement the BIM methodology itself. Okay, so I will give you an example. I showed you the interface, a screenshot of the interface of a software called Navisworks. Navisworks is a BIM-based tool, okay? But when using Navisworks, you can put the 3D model and you can upload the schedule made on Primavera or MS Project to integrate the schedule within the 3D model, okay? And in this case, you will have the possibility of generating a simulation of the building over time, okay? So if you change something in your schedule, um, the order of the construction or the simulation, the video that you create when you create this simulation will be different. Okay, so you can compare, for example, your baseline schedule and your actual schedule occurring in the construction site. Okay, so we can continue to use traditional tools and we can also continue to use traditional concepts. Okay, we can continue to talk about CPM, which is very traditional and focusing on understanding the critical path methods of our project, the critical activities of our schedule. But at the same time, we are using modern and innovative technologies and tools available in the market. Okay, so yeah, we will use everything simultaneously.
So we have two more questions. Then that's when I called it that we wouldn't take anymore. So this is from Jafat again. Which of the 8 cost estimates types for design and build project?
Yeah, so as I said during the presentation, all the techniques are possible. Okay, so the idea is to understand the way we can use each activity, and these were only the most common examples, but actually you can have more, you can use other types of cost estimate. Okay, so there is no right answer in this case. It depends on the size of the project, the resources that you have available. Okay, so it depends really.
And last one, Prakash says, how can we handle changes to a project scope, especially in the middle of the project? Ouch.
So yeah, there are different techniques. So we can talk about the approval or rejection of this change, and actually you should create the whole plan. So when a change appears, so if we are talking about scope, we can think about, sorry, I will use this slide here only to draw a triangle. So if I'm so teacher. I like to draw and everything. So when we think about scope, we are thinking about one part of this triangle. So if we change the scope, of course, we will affect the time, the schedule in this case, and the budget. And here in the middle of this triangle, we are talking about the quality of the project. So each part of this triangle will affect the overall quality. So if something happens to the scope, this is the same situation if it happens to the schedule, the budget, okay? The focus is to guarantee to continue to achieve the quality, the final quality of your project, but you should have a plan to discuss with your team. Some companies have a group of people who will be responsible to approve or reject the change. Sometimes a change is easy to deal with, but if this change appears at the end of the project, it will be impossible, okay? Because we are almost at the end, we don't have resources available. So it will depend on the type of the change, the size of the change, and also the moment in the project life cycle we are to decide if we will approve or reject the change. Sometimes, if the change is bigger enough, you will need to finalize the project or to start a new project. Okay, okay, the client asks a huge modification in the scope. Okay, we will need to create a new contract, and we will ask them to have more time. We will receive more money to do that. Okay, so it's impossible to change the scope without affecting the time and the cost of the project. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know other people had questions, but we are over time and we do need to stop it now. Um, I put the link in again, so if anyone else needs that certificate, that link is there. And we really thank you all for attending today. And Caroline, thank you so much for a great presentation and a great QA. Um, Guys, if you want to see any other webinars, I encourage you to go sign up for more and look at the past webinars. There are quite a few on this topic and related topics that you might find interesting. They are free, just like this one was. Um, so visit our site, go do that. I think you'll appreciate what you find there.
Thank you, everyone.